The Las Vegas Raiders have some things to figure out, whether it be free agency, the draft, and I think that, yes, the free agency could be potentially interesting. I mean, potentially with Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson, I doubt it, but we'll see what happens in that phase. But as far as the draft goes, there are 5 needs right now. There are probably a lot more, but here are at least 5 that we think the Raiders have in the 2023 NFL draft. And yes, I do think that some of these will change. Obviously, they will. This is the free agency period. Yeah, you guys get the picture. So these are the pre-draft needs for the Raiders before free agency. So right now, draft need number 1, quarterback. Now listen, I know that a lot of people in the comment section have been talking about, hey, let's get the defense going. Like, let's not worry about quarterback. Let's get the defense going. I absolutely agree. But if we want to talk about the Raiders and their biggest need, they need a future signal caller. Now, Jarrett Stidham showed some good things, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's the guy long-term moving forward. But, you don't want to put all your eggs into one basket. If at the very least you got a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round and you want to develop him, fine. If you want to see what you got in Jarrett Stidham, fine. But I would argue that quarterback is the number 1 need. I don't necessarily think that you draft quarterback in the 1st round. If Will Anderson Jr. falls to you at 7, you better run that card to the podium. Like, that's all I can say at this point. So I think that the Raiders really need to consider drafting their future signal caller with the first overall, with their first pick in the 2023 NFL draft. I think quarterback is the number 1 need, especially for this team and how they want to build. Let's see here. Las Vegas Raiders draft need number 2, offensive lineman. Now, so Colton Miller is getting up there. He's like 27, 28. He's not that old. Still playing some good ball, in my opinion. Also, Dylan Parham there at left guard. It is what it is there. Andre James at center. Yeah, it's okay. But after that, that right side of the line, I wouldn't mind if it left. Like, honestly, whether it's Skoronski or whoever that comes in, I do think, though, that and also I want to say it's Jones coming up out of Ohio State that we got pictured here. He's a guy that I really want them to take a shot on because I think he's got a lot of size. I think he's going to be a guy that we'll do draft profiles. Don't you guys worry. But I do think he's a guy that would be immediately plugged in at right tackle, and you never have to worry about him again for another year. So the Peter Skoronski, as we talked about, I'm really excited about him. I think you're probably going to move him into guard, preferably right guard if you're the Raiders, because I think he's an absolute stud, and then you get that figured out for your offensive line. Things seem to be going hunky-dunky. Now, Las Vegas draft really need number 3 is defensive tackle. Now, there are, whether it's Jalen Carter or whoever you want to say, or the Bressie kid coming up out of Clemson, there's some dudes. Like Brian Bressie is an absolute stud, even though there's an injury history. I think he can play in a 3-4 or a 4-3, doesn't matter. But I think at the end of the day, the Raiders, it has been a long time. It has been a long time since the Raiders have had a defensive line that truly gets after it. Max Crosby is like the only bright spot. Let's be real here. Like, Chandler Jones was a disappointment. They don't use Malcolm Koonce like we said he should have been used. So at this point, I'm upset. But at the same time, I want them to just get some guys. Balel Nichols, Andrew Billings showed some stuff last year, but I want him to get an absolute disruptor at defensive tackle, and I want them to get after it for the Raiders, because it's about high time that we find a guy that can just absolutely get after it. Speaking of getting after it, the Las Vegas Raiders drafted number 4, edge. Now, I think you could argue that this one is actually higher than defensive tackle, but Chandler Jones was not good. 4.5 sacks this year. You paid him to have double digits. Didn't happen. I do think that there's a lot of players in this draft class. Now, obviously, there's Will Anderson Jr. The Gibson kid coming. That's mocked to the Seahawks kid or Seahawks, every single day. But there's a lot of draft capital. There's a lot of guys in the edge class this year that could help out the Raiders, especially in the 1st round. If they want to trade down, if all their guys are taken and they want to trade down, fine, see what they can get for more draft capital. But right now, I really like what I see from this edge class. And I think that if you're the Raiders, you need to go out and get some more edge help, because if you're not going to use guys like Malcolm Koonce and you just got Max Crosby out there, they need to go out and help out the defense. Now, the Las Vegas Raiders draft need number 5, linebacker. Now, a part of me wanted to put corner, but I really like where Nate Hobbs is at. We saw some good things from Sam Webb. Amik Robertson showed some things at times as well. So it's not, I think corners definitely you need as well, but I really think linebacker, you got Denzel Perryman getting up there. Jayon Brown didn't exactly show what I wanted him to show, what I wanted him to. Kyler Fackrell got injured right before the season. I want a heat-seeking missile, or a guy that you can just bring in and just absolutely do some things. And I think there's some really good draft picks or some really good linebackers in this draft that could really help out the Raiders. Raiders. So I think linebackers definitely need to address it. They need to get a heat-seeking missile in there when Denzel Perryman does decide to hang up the cleats. So, but that's it. Those are our Las Vegas Raiders top 5 NFL draft needs. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome. We love every single one of you. Down in the description below, you'll find all of our social media platforms. So give us a like and a follow there. Also remember to give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about the Las Vegas Raiders top 5 draft needs for 2023.